What's up everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, we're doing two-time Olympian overall winner as well as the most decorated gymnast of all time. You guys know who I'm talking about. We're doing Simone Biles workout. As you guys know, I'm an Olympian from the Olympia for bodybuilding versus Olympics, which is very different. So we're gonna see if Simone Biles workouts gets me better prepared for this upcoming Olympia in 2024. All right, so we're gonna get warmed up first because this workout is like literally quite a workout. You guys know that I have like a gymnastics background, so it's relatively similar to what I'm used to slash kind of like what I expect out of it. However, I have not done this kind of volume in a very long time. So we're doing some rope climbs till failure. LOL, my pull strength is absolutely 0. So I don't imagine we are doing that many rope climbs. We also have some pike push-ups, which I'm familiar with, some core work, which is going to be, I believe, like foam block V-snap passes, as well as a reverse plank, and then hanging leg raises and an L-sit, which that stuff is all very calisthenic based, so I should be okay. So I don't know if you guys watched this year's Olympics, but I feel like this year was such a great year and such a comeback year. The United States had such an amazing year, and so did our Canadians. Shout out Ellie Black and all the other girls who competed on Team Canada. I feel like this year it was so nice to see Simone come back and just completely dominate. And it was really cool because it was nice to see where she came from Tokyo until now, and like just the importance of taking care of your mental health and taking a step back. And so definitely as I'm getting ready for this season for my own competing, it's something that's very motivating and something that I turn to when I have like moments of anxiety or doubt and panic and stuff like that. So for me, just to have the Olympics going on kind of right during my season is a nice little motivational kick. And again, just to watch amazing athletes just be freaking amazing is so cool to watch on television. And so I'm really excited for this coming season for myself. And also congratulations to all the athletes who competed at the Olympics for gymnastics, because that's one of my beloved sports that I've always liked since the beginning and where my majority of my background comes from. LOL. This is not a gymnastics rope. This is very different. You can tell that feet, she doesn't use feet. This is a tough one, guys. I'm not even ready for this. What if I don't make it down? This is also my workout for the day because today's my fitness day, so. This is literally until failure, which might be one and done. Let me see. Okay, we're gonna try to just go for one. One rope climb, legless. Oh! Oh my God. That's one. Honestly, pretty impressed with myself. I thought that was gonna go way differently. Okay, we're gonna try to go for 2. I'm sure Simone does like 8 of these. Probably 4 at the beginning of her workout, 4 at the end. I was gonna say I'm older than Simone, only by a year though. So there really is no excuse. She is just built different, quite literally. She is just like greatest of all time. Okay, we're going for attempt number 2. I don't know how much break I've taken, but my fingers certainly hurt, that's for sure. Grip strength, absolutely trash. You guys know that. I will be so impressed if I get 2. Oh, I sounded like Rocket right there. Oh, okay. My hands. We're gonna do 2. 2 is plenty. 2 is max for me today. Is that the worst? My heart rate? What's my heart rate? 114. Fun fact, it's really hard for me to get my heart rate up. So if anyone has any ideas on that, let me know because we're struggling. My heart rate's supposed to be super high during everything and it's just low. Maybe because I'm tired? Or maybe, I don't know what the other maybe could be. So we've done the rope climb. Now we are going to do the pike push-ups, 3 sets of 20. She did this with her feet on a block. The reason why gymnasts do variations of push-ups, you'll see them do pike push-ups, you'll see them do like wrist push-ups. It's basically all just more like preventative, rehabilitative stuff. So in terms of just like making sure that like if you're overcoming a shoulder injury, you're trying to prevent one, or just like working all those supporting muscle groups, whether it's in your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, super important. So if you're someone who's like, well, we're in a CrossFit gym today, if you're in CrossFit, that's something to do. Or if you're someone who's in calisthenics or just trying to get into more of a like hybrid, athletic, functional style training, definitely try a lot of these things. And obviously there's modifications as well, which I will go through a little bit too. My little arms. That was so much harder than it needed to be. So I'm gonna do 3 sets of these for you guys. I'm gonna show you kind of like the differences in the way you can do these, whether it's gonna be modified, advanced, or just like a calisthenic approach versus just a regular gymnastics approach. So the ones that I saw was more just like top of the head touching, just tapping. Elbows were a little bit more flared, which is okay. Again, kind of like work within your own range of motion and what feels comfortable. So we're gonna do a quick set of 20 there. So bum nice and high. That is one thing that was super important. They're essentially in a handstand position. If you're someone with bad mobility in your lower body, just a quick little knee bend and you'll be in the exact same position. So let's go for 20. So they just tapped their head. 20. All right, that was tiring. Okay, so this is the more gymnastic style. Main things that you're kind of focusing on is, again, like you're more in like a handstand position and you're just tapping, the top of your head. Key things that I would say is that make sure, like, obviously your core is tight, and make sure as you're bending your elbows, it's in a range of motion that's not any like clicking or anything in the shoulder. And then gymnasts, we tend to want to like train the way we're going to perform. So in our hands, we want to make sure that we're actually like being active with our hands. We're not just flat. So if you're someone who works bars, beam, and has like more handstand movements in your beam routine, like gripping the floor is going to be really important. Next, I'm going to show you a modified version. Nice little break in between the calisthenic one I'm going to do after. Give myself a little break. If you can't do it off a box, which is going to be a little bit harder, you can do pike push-ups on the ground. That would be the same thing. Hands slightly wider than shoulders. We're going to pop up into a position. The more close your feet are to your hands, the harder it's going to be, both strength-wise and mobility. So again, we can bring our legs further out. That's going to be easier for our hamstrings. Or if you have the strength and you don't have the hamstrings, again, a slight knee bend is going to help you out there. So same rules apply. Tapping the head, coming back up for 20. Another modification you can do, even if this is a little bit harder, you can also just do regular push-ups, or you can even just add like a foam block and gradually make that a little bit lower, just that way you have something for your head to touch. 20. Nice. If you're someone who's just getting into it, because pike push-ups are a more advanced movement and require a little bit more strength than, say, like a typical push-up. Final set of 20, we're gonna be doing a more calisthenic type one. I say this because the difference between a calisthenic handstand push-up and, say, like a CrossFit or a gymnastics handstand push-up is we tend to go more like base to floor versus the top of our head to floor. So you'll notice that I'm like nose to floor, which you're someone who doesn't like germs, just put a mat down, but I really care. So another thing that you're gonna notice is I'm gonna move more in an escalator type fashion. So handstand push-ups, gymnastics world and CrossFit world are more up and down. Calisthenic athletes, words are hard, are more on a 45 degrees. So you're gonna see more of an escalator motion versus an elevator motion. Same rules apply. We're still gonna be stacked, and then we're gonna be going down, forward to our nose, and back up. So you'll notice my shift is different. I'm going forward into a tripod, and back up. Still, we can do it with bent legs if needed. Otherwise, it'll be a slightly different movement pattern. These ones are also harder, so I will be going slower. And I don't know why I save these ones to the end. It's okay, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. 5 more. 2. Boom. 3. Okay. Well, that's done, thank God. Hopefully you guys can see the difference between the straight up versus the one. I know I got a little tired towards the end, so I'm sure my form wasn't perfect. So what you'll notice is the first variation we did was hands, head, hands. The last variation did was hands, head, hand. So it's like a triangle versus a straight line in terms of like the major differences that you're gonna see. And that's what also gives that triangle shape, is what gives the 45-degree angle versus the straight up and down. Next, we're doing some good old V-snaps. We're gonna be doing a pass. So I do this in the gym, but I usually do them with stability ball. Yoga block, what this forces is terms of just like a tighter squeeze through your legs. Obviously it's a smaller surface, that's why. So I think that's why gymnasts tend to use them. It says 3x30. I mean, if I'm being aggressive, I would say that it's probably hands to feet, feet to hand equals 1 rep. But for the sake of my energy levels today and my sanity during prep, we're just gonna say 1, 2. So judge me if you want, but that's what we're doing today. Also, key thing between gymnastics and bodybuilding is the diet and the cardio. Gymnasts work extremely hard, 100%. However, as a gymnast, they don't get down to like the leanness and like the stage ready presence, because they don't have a round during gymnastics where you have to step on stage and basically be as lean as possible and flex all your muscles. They just get to go out and show exactly what the body's capable of. That being said, what I do love about the fitness division, is that it's kind of like a hybrid of the two. I get to go on stage, show my body and all the hard work and the dedication that the diet's taken, but then also I get to kind of like relive my gymnastics, dance, cheerleading days, and I get to do that whole performance aspect for a 2-minute routine, which is really fun. And that's why our body types tend to be, or don't need to be as conditioned, because we are demanding on our bodies. And in order to avoid things like injury or just burnout or just overall just performance and keeping that high level, we tend to not be as like shredded as some of the other divisions. That was just me killing time before I had to do my V-snaps. Okay, 30. Oh no, coordination. Maybe that's what this is for. That's 10. I lost count. We're gonna say that's Okay, it's 20. 10 more. 10, 2, 1. Oh, that's a burner. That's a burner for sure. Okay, core workout. So let's go through some technique on that. If you're someone who struggles with obviously using a foam block, whether it be coordination or just in fact mobility, to some people, you can have the strongest core in the world, but again, those hamstrings, they prevent you from being able to reach up. So you can do a couple things. You can do them as a bent leg, or you can just say sayonara to the block and just reach for your feet instead, or your shins or your kneecaps, or whichever your flexibility allows you. The other thing that's a little bit different between, I would say, probably gymnastics training and bodybuilding training is we tend to want to like make sure that we're not like pushing out our core, which is, as a gymnast, from what I remember, is not something that they ever really told us to focus on. We were never really told to think of like belly button to spine, keeping a nice tight waistline. We tended just to like get the performance out, get the skill out. So bodybuilding, as I'm doing this, in order to not like have like a flared out rib cage or like my gut pushed out, I'm thinking of tight core, squeezing in, keeping a nice tight waistline throughout the entire movement. So those are two key differences as you're doing it. Another thing too is the tighter you are in your movements, this goes for both sports, the better your actual output will be when you do those skills. So if you can do these V-snaps with tight legs and tight arms, that means when you go to do your actual skills, it's gonna transfer. You're gonna have automatically better form, pointed toes, straight legs, all that stuff. So, all right, next we have a 2-minute reverse plank hold. So I honestly have not done these in probably years. So what we're gonna do, this is gonna be the version that Simone does, but I'm also gonna, again, show you the regressions of what we can do here. So we're gonna basically set up on, I would suggest a soft surface for the sake of your body. We're using 2 benches today. So again, if you're in a gym, you can use boxes, you can use benches, whatever you like. We're basically gonna set it up where our bottom of our scapula show the bottom of our shoulder blades. We're gonna stretch out. And then basically, so instead of being like, say like here, which is a very like relaxed, neutral position, we wanna be active. So we're gonna push our hips up, squeeze our bum, again, squeeze our legs together. And then you're holding this position for 2 minutes. I'll put the timer on as I talk through the technique. I'm wasting time. Okay, I'm adding on 20 seconds. This position, if you are a gymnast, if you are a, like, not necessarily a calisthenic athlete, but if you're an athlete who does straight body movements, what does this kind of look like? It looks like our layouts, it looks like our handstands, it looks like our levers, stuff like that. So this is basically conditioning our entire core and our posterior chain. So I'm having to squeeze my glutes, pushing my hips up actively, and squeeze my core. Again, if we are a more bodybuilding style athlete, we're gonna be thinking of belly button into our spine. Hands can be at various positions, behind our head, by our side, over our head, across your chest if you want to take a nap, whatever you want. I'm gonna go here, mainly because for me, because I haven't done this in a while, actually my extensors and my neck are actually what I'm finding a little bit weaker, so I'm just adding a little bit of support, just a quick 2 little fingers. I'm not craning my neck forward because that's gonna break my alignment. Still a neutral spine, but I'm just adding a little bit of support so that way I don't cramp up and, you know, cause myself an injury that I don't need by filming a YouTube video. If you are someone who has never done this before, you can do this same movement on the ground. A lot of calisthenic athletes do it, and it basically just is a, like, think of like a tabletop, but with your legs out straight. I know my clock says 30, but like, remember I started before, so we're not cheating. We're just, you know, remembering. Oh my God. My posterior chain is lit up after that. Also, I'm a little sweaty. Don't look at that. If you are a true beginner, we can just do a regular old tabletop. It's gonna do the exact same thing, but it's gonna basically alleviate a lot of the extra, well, it's just gonna basically alleviate some of the hard parts of it. So we're gonna be able to recruit our hamstrings as well as our glutes, because our legs are gonna be bent. Hands, whatever position you want. I personally like slightly turned out. We're gonna push our hips to the sky, and you would basically just hold this position here for 2 minutes if you're a beginner. You can then, as you progress, we could then stretch it out to here. Make yourself a little bit easier. Another one you can do is just have your upper body on the bench. So if you're here, you can also just practice or reverse plank this way. This is basically the same thing that we just did with our hands on the ground, but now we're taking away our arms, and it's a little bit more demanding on that core, and we haven't fully elevated our legs up, and the incline will also make it a little bit easier. So all different variations you can do if you're wanting to try this workout or just try conditioning in terms of just your posterior chain. All right, next we have 3 sets of hanging leg raises. I actually love this. I still do this. It's one of my favorite core exercises. You can also interchangeably call these toes to bar. We're in a CrossFit gym, so that's what they would be called here. All we're gonna do is we're gonna jump up. As a gymnast, I always wrapped my thumbs And as a calisthenic athlete in bodybuilding, as you guys have seen in my other videos, apparently bodybuilders don't use their thumbs. So for today's video, I will not be using my thumbs. Legs nice and straight, core nice and tight, letting yourself fully dead hang. So you're not shrugging up in your shoulders, dead hang, toes all the way to the bar and back down. We're gonna go for 20. Couple things here. Obviously we can, again, do a little bit of a regression. So if you're someone who can't do toes to bar, whether it's your core strength or again, the hamstrings, you can tell, obviously, with calisthenics and gymnastics, a lot of the time you need to be strong and mobile. Same with the fitness division. So in terms of modifying this in a way that is doable, we can do a simple L sit, so just decreasing the range of motion, or we can still keep the same range of motion, but we're gonna bend our knees. So I'll show you both. Whether you wanna practice, say, keeping nice tight form, we can do something like this, where it's the same thing, but we're just going to an L, because that's your range of motion that you can work in. Or we can do toes to bar, but we're gonna be bending our knees. So my toes are still touching the bar, but I'm eliminating the hamstrings by bending the knees. They do come straight at the bottom because we do wanna still train it. The slower and more controlled you do these movements, the better it'll be in order to progress you towards an actual full toes to bar. Another one that I get with this is a lot of people can say do toes to bar, but they have bad rhythm, or they're just like, they don't know how to stop their legs. They just swing all the way through. So a couple ways this can look a little bit awkward is if you're someone, when you're raising your toes to the bar too fast, and then you come down, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm swinging, and you have to stop yourself before the next set. So my biggest suggestion with this, the tighter your legs are, the easier it is to move through space. So as I'm coming up to the bar, as high as I can, when I'm lowering down, I'm thinking of squeezing my legs together and also stretching them as far away from me as possible while maintaining a tight core. So as I'm bringing my legs down, I'm almost think of stretching and keeping my core tight, so that way when I come down, it's more of a dead stop versus a ginormous swing, because the swing is what makes them feel awkward and kind of wonky, and just like people usually don't typically enjoy them. If you're doing them from a tuck leg, same thing applies. So as I'm coming up to my chest, I wanna keep everything tight. This one's actually different in the terms of my toes will be far away from me, but my knees will stay close to me in order to keep it nice and still. So if I were to bring my legs out in front of me, that's when I kind of get that movement, and it kind of looks crazy and hectic and hard to control. Whereas if I'm able to keep my knees in tight to me, I can then just basically knees in, and then as I'm coming down, I can just shoot my toes straight down to the ground, which will eliminate the swing factor. So try those out if you're someone who struggles with leg raises, and hopefully that helps. All right, last but not least, we have probably my least favorite exercise, a good old L sit. Grab your P-bars, your dumbbells, your boxes or your bench, or you can do it flat on the ground. That is the hardest variation. The higher you are on these ones, the easier it will be, because your legs can kind of go below, obviously, the bars. L sit, key things here, just in technique. We wanna push our shoulders away from our ears, belly button to spine, and think of lifting your heels. A lot of people think L sit, I have to lift my entire leg, but that's a lot in your mind to lift. Just think of lifting your heels, and automatically, since your heels are at the end of your leg, your entire leg will lift. We're going for a minute, LOL. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and up. Shoulders away from my ears. Trying to keep my legs up as high as possible. And I'm breathing, because if you don't breathe, way harder, way harder. If you get tired, there are some modifications. We can bend our legs. We can keep one leg out, but you can switch one leg out, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. We can bring one leg down and hold up like this, just with a little soft toe touch. Again, switch legs. Anything you need in order to stay up for that 1 minute. I didn't even bring a timer, so I don't even know where I'm at. We're gonna say that's 1 minute because I'm cramping and I'm sweating. That is the workout. I mean, it's a pretty solid workout. It is tipple conditioning. It brings me back to my gymnastics days in terms of just like what it's like to just do a bunch of body weight stuff at high volume. I think that's another reason why, like Jody and I talked about, like I'm an endurance athlete, mainly because of my training as a gymnast. We do all these things, 3 sets of 20, 25 reps, 30 reps, everything like that. And I'm not like a quick, fast athlete. So I'm not someone who does like fast sprints or like big explosive movements, like say Olympic lifting and stuff like that. So that's an area that I need to particularly work on. So maybe next I will try like maybe an Olympic lifters workout and see how I do there after my season. Also, special shout out for North Shore Athletic Club for letting us film here today. It's one of the CrossFit gyms in the Burlington area. So we needed a rope climb, and obviously CrossFit gyms have that. And so being able to use the space and show you guys all of the technique and the workout was super awesome. So again, if you guys want to check out this CrossFit gym, it's in the Burlington area. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. It was really fun just to go through it. And again, congratulations to all the Olympic athletes who did amazing in the gymnastics this past week. And I hope that you guys learned something. And if you did, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you have any questions, you can also drop those below.